Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Sound Good Podcast. I am your host, Michael.
And I can't believe it's been a whole year.
Since what?
Wow. Get the champions a whole year.
Since what?
Amazing. Congratulations, buddy.
What? Okay, you're confusing me more than normal with this intro.
Anyway, to the news.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any news?
No, I do not. But I'm gonna finish the intro.
Everybody
first.
comment congrats a whole year. The bottom.
All right, fuck it. We're not gonna finish the intro. This is how we do things here now. It's great.
Welcome to the Sound Good Podcast.
Welcome to the Sound Good Podcast, where you sound good
night.
and we don't. All right. Yeah, that's a good one, right? Sure. Whatever. Fuck it.
Good night.
Fuck it. Let's do it live. All right. Let's start off with the news stuff. Let's start off with the news.
Shit.
let's just.
I'm trying to make a good night joke.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're going to talk about the album Goodnight by Lilac Kings. I should probably.
Yeah. You should probably say that since
okay.
you just interrupted
me.
Yeah, sure. All right. Let's. God damn it. This is already starting off so well. Okay, into the news.
This is really old. This is old news, but it's news because I keep forgetting to bring it up. So a long time ago, you know how it's really sad that was it Ollie Herbert of All That Remains died?
Yeah.
Was that his name?
Yes.
Jason Richardson was like their fill-in like tour guitarist for a while there, and even then I was like, wow, he's kind of wasting his time because he's a very good guitarist. Apparently, he's their full-time guitarist now.
Oh wow, great.
So yeah, that's a waste.
Hopefully, All That Remains gets better then.
They won't.
Yeah, well,
that singer's going to keep running them into the ground. And speaking of bands that have singers running them into the ground.
Oh, is it Whitechapel news time?
Oh, no, I forgot. They did put out a new single that I showed you. I showed it to you. We didn't talk about it for the news on our live stream.
Who, Whitechapel?
Yeah, I showed you the song, but I didn't mention it as news in that episode itself. A little while ago, Whitechapel put out another new single for their concept album, The Valley. And maybe loose concept. I don't know if it's like strict, but it's about his like life with his mom who had schizophrenia and junk. So it's pretty metal.
Okay.
The new song was called "When a Demon Defiles a Witch."
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah. You told me about that.
Yeah, so that's neat. But yeah, speaking of other bands with singers running them into the ground, those new Demon Hunter albums came out on Friday, March 1st. Woo.
Oh yeah, did they?
I'll probably do a solo episode to spare you. Because it's a double album called War and Peace.
yeah. I remember you talking about those in the news before.
Yeah, so I heard that it's not as bad as I was thinking it would be, so I'd be interested, but I would still probably title the episode A Mediocre Band's Fall from Grace. Personally, that's my intention.
That's fairly accurate from what I remember, so that's all right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And apparently there's a cool Hawaii music festival called Ohana Fest, led by John Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. And I guess like I don't really care about Red Hot Chili Peppers, but also the Strokes are going to be headlining that, so I just thought that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, the Strokes would be
neat,
fun to see. Yeah, cool.
And finally, a new Periphery single was released with a super neato drum playthrough. It's called Garden in the Bones, and that explains. I actually genuinely, even though I listened to the song about 4 times, I had no idea what that gardening with a boner post was about.
I'm glad you said it because I was literally just about to say gardening with a boner. So good for you.
You just say gardening.
Yeah, it's just gardening to me, man. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Around these parts, we just call it gardening.
So yeah, go check that out if you want to see some pretty neato cymbal work. There's quite a bit there towards the end of the song. Woo.
Yeah.
That's all the news I had. I don't know if you had any.
I did not. I've been very, very unreasonably busy this week with many things.
So have I. I have a lot of stuff to do later today.
So I guess with
being a teacher sucks.
Yeah, right. With that very, very short news intro and botched ass intro. I guess we will go ahead and get into the main bulk of the episode today, which is going to be reviewing and discussing the new...
Oh, God. Jesus.
What is your problem?
You're supposed to keep going. I'm doing a bit.
Oh, my God. We're going to be talking about and discussing the new album by Oklahoma-based math rock, progressive, post-hardcore act, Lilac Kings. Their new album is called...
It's under my skin. That transition.
Oh, my God.
Call a doctor.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
I don't want you to edit anything.
Like, no, like that's gonna be. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna
put the transition in.
I'm not gonna edit any of this.
Just don't edit it.
Right.
Math rock, prog.
Math rock, prog.
Lilac Kings.
So yeah, this new album by Lilac Kings came out on, was it February 15th?
I think so. I saw some reviews for it on the 14th. So...
Yeah, but I mean, albums usually come out on Friday, so it was
early.
Definitely the 15th.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this album came out. You know, it would probably be helpful if I had any of this information pulled up, but it came out on the 15th of February. It is a fantastic record, in my opinion. But
oh yeah, it's super solid.
We will go into more what makes it a fantastic album right now. Micah, would you like to start off with your opening thoughts, or you want me to?
I don't know why I expected another transition break to be there. Just throw another one in. Fuck it.
Don't tempt me.
Just have it be a slide whistle this time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't know what you've just unleashed.
Dude, I want it. So
I need it.
This was a surprisingly short album. It was easy to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, on top of the fact that it's very easy listening also.
Yeah, for it being a progressive-ish album, you know, sound-wise, and like the mathy times it has in it, it is a very easy to listen to, very easy listening album, very accessible album for anybody trying to get into this style of post-hardcore. Which a lot of people, I guess, you could collectively call it Risecore. I mean, I don't think they're on Rise, but it's.
I mean, my first instinct when you showed them to me was that it reminded me of Donovan Malero, so it's it's just Risecore at that. If that's like what it incites in you, you know?
Right. Oh,
at that point,
it actually, I lied. It came out on February 8th.
1st. Oh, 8th?
February 8th. So a week before the 15th. So it came out February 8th on We Are Triumphant Records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nice.
Yeah.
I really like the album art.
Get the information straight here, because, you know, it's Sound Good podcast. We're all about fact checking and only the facts.
There wasn't any vinyl for this, from what I can tell on their Bandcamp.
Thanks for ignoring that. Yeah, I don't think I saw a lot. I mean, I also didn't really look a lot into physical releases, but I don't remember.
Oh, I'd love to have a physical release of this.
Seeing any? Oh yeah, I would love to have this on vinyl of some sort.
I mean, this art would look really good on vinyl too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
so yeah, well, what
I
goes
really
into making this album good? What goes into making this album good?
Well, I guess stupid thought. I really enjoyed the fact that we did our Dream Theater episode previous to this, and then we had another album right after that had a Carl Sagan reference.
Yeah.
Versus the song Pale Blue Dot on Distance Over Time, and then this just uses the audio from his Pale Blue Dot speech.
Yeah, okay, so speaking of that speech, the album opens up with the intro track, Where We Are in the Stars, and like you said, it samples that Carl Sagan Pale Blue Dot speech throughout most of the song.
Most of it, yeah.
And the entire time it's sampling that speech, there's just like a mathy guitar riff going on underneath it, and it really, I think, sets the tone and sets the mood for this album really well. As an opening track, it gets you into that, like, gives you a little bit of the ambience, it gives you a little bit of the hard rocking, it gives you Dylan McBride's fantastic voice right off the bat.
Yeah, he has a lot of range.
Yeah,
is definitely what stands out to me about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the range thing, because that is something I wanted to point out on this album too. if you have listened to the style of music that encompasses bands like Hail the Sun, Dance Gavin Dance,
Basically,
that kind of music, you're used to like the vocals staying high and only being up in that higher register. This band does a really good job of Dylan does a really good job of jumping around his range comfortably. He has a lot of low and like mid range, lines, and he's got a lot of really, really, really high lines, and you're like, whoa, how can this dude do that?
Yeah. And he only does that sometimes, for flavor.
It's very flavorful. It's not a constant high pitched whining in your ear, and it's honestly, I will say he doesn't. Sorry, I just want to make this last point, and then you can do your thing. Sorry. I will say he doesn't have like the cleanest high voice. Like, it's very
he does not.
nasally, but it works really well for the music, and I actually really enjoy it with the music. Like I said, I think it really fits the sound of the band well. Like, it meshes well with the music. I feel like if his voice were on anything more like, for lack of a better word, boring sounding music, it probably wouldn't fit as well. So I think his vocal style and his vocals are actually a really good fit for this band, and they definitely shine and are almost like front and centered throughout this entire record.
Yeah, how do you think they would, because we've talked a little bit before, Reset the Clock, we've talked about in the past, like for bands like Between the Buried and Me, where like the vocals would sound kind of shitty like solo, but they work for the music. How do you feel about, like, because you said like his highest highs not being as clean, like, do you think that it works better with the music, or do you think it would sound okay solo?
I mean, there's not really any part in the album where he is doing solo vocals at that high of a register, and I think it's on purpose. I think there's a reason to it. Like I'm not. It's hard to say this without sounding like I'm shitting on his singing ability.
I mean, we ran into the same issue when we were talking about Tommy's vocals too.
Yeah. They're very specialized and very made for a certain kind of music, like,
sonic environment.
Yeah, a certain sonic environment. There you go. That's a perfect way to phrase that. Because
I'm gonna run to the patent store real quick.
But yeah, I think if he had like a solo part where he had the really high pitched vocals, it probably wouldn't fit. But they do a good job of knowing where to place the notes that they use in the melodies and all that stuff. Like, there's nothing really vocally that sounds out of place because, why was that? Why was that isolated? Why was that not isolated?
That never happens.
No, not for me at least. I mean, I don't know if you got any spots like that, but
no. I noticed what you noticed. Like, there's some moments. I think there's I do not remember what song it was. But there's a song where he says, "Just stay with me," and like when he says "with me," like he really gets up there. And I did notice too that it wasn't necessarily the cleanest, but it didn't sound bad.
Right.
I think it really worked for the genre and the sound that they were going for.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. I love when bands can play their sound well.
Play their strengths and make a weakness is kind of more of a strength.
Yeah. So yeah, were you?
Well, it cracked me up that and after making my Donovan comparison on some of the higher stuff, I did realize after the fact too, listening to it alone, that his lower register, I kind of felt like a little bit I was listening to On the Receiving End of Sirens when they had the dude who left.
Oh, really?
The dude who went to go do Deer Hunter. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminded me of some of the vocals from when he was still in that band.
Really?
A little bit. Yeah, some of the lower range stuff.
Huh. I never got that. I guess I never made that connection, but his lower register, I got a big Kurt Travis vibe from, though.
Yeah, that
very,
too.
very heavily Kurt Travis, and I mean, it's
very similar.
Not a bad
genre.
thing at all. No, it sounds fantastic.
He's
but to kind of hit on other parts of the album, there's songs. Let's talk about choruses on this album, because
it's a very hooky album.
Yeah, while it is a very like it's a progressive sounding album, it is very almost traditional style, like song structure wise. So it's got a good use of choruses and hooks, and it uses them quite a bit. Some of my my favorite ones, just off the top of my head, were "Drive Me Home." Had a really good one. The "You're a Hell of a Catch, Baby, 1 in a Million." That part, like, probably one of the most solid vocal melodies and vocal lines, and just overall sounding parts on the whole album, in my opinion. Other songs that had like really strong choruses, I think, were "Swallowed Whole," "Goodnight," if you count the whole I guess it's a chorus, the little like "Goodnight, Sweet Light" motif.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I mean it's a 340 song, so
yeah.
All of that counts.
There was only like one part of this album really that I would have just like done without, and it was like the random switch with the piano and Atrophy at the end into like a swing jazz beat.
Yeah, I remember specifically Atrophy being like a standout weird one to me. Like Atrophy was definitely, it doesn't happen a lot where I would check the track because you're like, wait.
Yeah, like
wait, what? Was like in that? Yeah, I remember always checking my phone right when and like reading just Atrophy. I'm like,
Atrophy was the track that like during the chorus it had that weird right. I think so.
Yes,
I think it had that
so.
weird like almost synthesizer kind of sound going with the guitars on that. If it wasn't Atrophy,
like there's a lot of cool stuff going on
was
in the song, but it jumps around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think it's a bad song, but it's definitely like the weirdest one on the track, especially with the, like I mentioned, the very minor but like also very random switch to swing beat on that piano line at the end. I don't know. Yeah. It was just kind of, you're just like, what? Oh, okay. I guess we're doing that then.
And so I will say, actually, no, we were talking about this. You were bringing up the point of sometimes specific band members kind of standing out. Was it this album you were thinking of? Like, was that a point you were making about this album, or were you just thinking that in general about something else?
I was listening to when I said that to you, I was listening to some Jen song.
God damn it!
No, completely unrelated.
Dumbass. Because actually, no, I was gonna say like I'd be interested to know which person you're talking about because almost everyone's firing on all cylinders. I would say I don't notice the bass so much on all the listens I've done of this.
I think that might be partially because of the mix. Also, maybe just because the bass lines aren't particularly interesting, but I don't feel like this is the kind of music where the bass line needs to be really interesting. It kind of just,
I feel like
does a good job.
I feel like it'd help a lot.
Yeah, do you like it would?
If it's mathy, I feel like that would help a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
it could really elevate certain songs.
Sure, yeah, but like, I mean, my experience with like a lot of mathy stuff though is usually like when the bass can just hold down like rhythm and meter.
I guess so.
Like that's a lot more important than playing, something intricate, especially when there's like a lot of time signature changes, which I don't think there's like a ton in any of these songs, but yeah, I don't know. There's definitely room for some experimentation on the bass, but again, in this kind of music, it's one of those, it's just an instrument that's not very important to the sound. Like, it's just kind of there.
The drums definitely kill it, but I feel like at least what they have presented here, like the vocals and the guitar are really like kind of taking center stage for the most part.
Yeah. And
like they're kind of the lead voices.
Right. And that could partially be because the vocalist is also one of the guitar players.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would explain a lot.
Yeah, that could definitely be part of that reason why they're so front in the mix. Like, who knows? You never know. I mean, whether or not I don't even know if these guys mixed the album themselves or not. Like, I have no clue. But
I mean, it's produced really well.
Yeah, it is a very solid production.
Like anything I'm saying is just really minor nitpicks because it's an otherwise like really well done album.
Yeah.
You know?
Was there, so like we were talking about, I'm just trying to think of like more to say about this album because it is like a very good album, but like, I mean, I think it's a really good album. Like, I really enjoy this album. This is like one of the few albums that we've talked about that we've had to listen to where I've just like been listening to it nonstop and enjoying it every time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just like enjoying it more and more every time. Like, it's a good repeater album. Like, you listen to it and it's only half an hour. You can get through it really quick. And then you go and listen to it again, and you might catch something you didn't hear the first time. Like in their, I think the lead single was "Imagine Life Without Color," and just like, you know, you hear different things every time. Like, I don't think I noticed that line from Atrophy, like I was commenting on with like that, like random. I guess it's not in the chorus, but randomly throughout the.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't notice that the first couple listens, and all of a sudden I was listening through and I heard it on a listen, and I was like, oh, okay.
Wow, I actually hate this song now.
Should we touch on like the ender, like Goodnight? Because I know we always
I
like
was gonna say, because I feel like it was at least paced really well in that sense. Yeah, so like because you had that really slow build up with the Carl Sagan talk, and then I mean it's a relatively high energy album basically the whole way through. Like Atrophy kind of gives you a break with its intro, but it just kind of just keeps going eventually with the energy. But then Goodnight overall it's a nice cool down.
It's a really soft song. Like there is some parts where it kind of picks up sound wise, like it gets a little louder, but then almost immediately it quiets itself back down. I almost feel like this song is like a lullaby at the end of at the end of the album, and it really like works well with this album just because of the flow and the sound of all the songs. Like we mentioned there, they do touch on a lot of ambience and a lot of softer parts of their music, and they just make it louder kind of. So I think Goodnight is like a very good closer just because of how it closes. I think the vocal melodies in it are good. I like the switch from the lower Goodnight. Like I like the switch from like that into like an octave higher at the end when they're just like blasting it out. Yeah. It's just it's a very like I usually don't like songs that wind you up at the end of the album, but this one does a really good job of like winding you up like that for like the first 3 minutes, and then the last like 30 seconds are just like a release kind of.
Yeah, like I think it's kind of weird that it doesn't happen between the songs. I really think that kind of helps kind of pull everything together to be like more of a piece of music that you just kind of finished, I guess. Which that's tough to describe.
Yeah,
I had a
it is really
thought of how to describe that.
This whole album's kind of hard to describe. Like it's good, but you don't know how to say it's good.
I will say it is a little weird in hindsight. Just even looking at the song titles, I don't necessarily get what they're going for. 'Cause like why the Carl Sagan Pale Blue Dot like talk for the intro? Like nothing else is like space oriented at all. I mean, you know, that kind of thing. Like I don't really understand what they were going for with that.
It could be a lyrical thing, you know. Like I mean,
if it was like purely metaphorical.
Yeah, it could have to do like it could involve like you have to get into the lyrics and look at them a little bit more.
I guess so, but like I mean, just even from lyrics, I do remember off the top of my head, like nothing really feels that related to that. Yeah. You know, it kind of feels like.
Well, I mean, the song title is like "Where We Are in the Stars," so I mean, maybe just the song itself is just like a grounding situation. You know what I mean?
Possibly,
because you've got the songs like "Don't Pretend" that are about like how people like fetishize depression and anxiety and stuff like that when they don't have it. So like that whole song.
What do you mean?
About,
I'm super depressed.
Huh?
What?
But like the whole song is just about just people like don't pretend that to have a mental disability, like that, like don't pretend to have a mental illness. I think this whole album, like song by song, is focusing on a certain topic.
I guess so. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think it's like I don't think it's supposed to have a contained theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, I guess that you could go down the route of if they're going for kind of more grounded, real subject matter for their songs, it's nice to put it in perspective with the whole space thing, because it's like, you know,
exactly, like that first track is all about, hey, remember, you are
emphasizing pettiness. I guess,
like, remember, you are this one tiny person in this grand scheme of things. Like, I think the whole overarching,
like, fucking chill out.
Yeah, I think the whole overarching theme is just grounding yourself and like real life issues and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm just reading too far into this at the point.
I feel like I'm glad that we at least did that far, because I feel like I was very naive and under reading it.
Yeah, I mean,
when I was kind of complaining there,
I can look at the lyrics a little bit more and like truly decide if it has an overarching theme. But at this time, I just think it's a collection of songs that sound good together.
I definitely didn't like the lyrics. I don't remember what song it was. There's like a song where the lyrics are like, it actually might be the one that we're listening to at the moment as our background music.
Swallowed Whole?
Yeah, where he says like, what kind of man did you take me for? And then looks like you'll be sleeping with. And when he said you'll be sleeping with, I was like, he better not say the fish. I'm gonna fucking scream if he says the fish.
Did he?
And then he said the fish. Like, just saying sleeping with the fish it's I don't know, that kind of took me out of it.
It's a cliche.
It's a big cliche.
Yeah, it's a bit cliche.
But I mean, the song was still good.
Yeah.
The rest of the lyrics were good too. Just that one was like.
But yeah, I guess. Do you have any closing thoughts for this album?
I mean, there is definitely a baseline mood they were going for that they nailed. Because I think, we should mention that like the synth is produced really well / the piano. There's like a really specific piano tone that they use that's like really upfront and clear that I like. Like, that's kind of how everything about this like production is. Like, everything is kind of crystal clear aside from like bass following certain things so closely that you can't distinguish it. But I don't mean clear like to distinguish each of the instruments.
Yeah,
I mean it in a different way.
It's squeaky clean.
Yeah.
The production is squeaky clean.
And just like, specifically the piano that they use really stands out to me as being just, it really adds an element to the tone that they're going for. And it's it's a really consistent. I think it's smart that this was only a 35-minute long album. Yeah,
35 or 32 or something like that.
Yeah, that way they didn't like go on any tangent at any point, aside from that weirdness at the end of Atrophy.
What's wrong with tangents, man?
I don't know. I've never gone on one.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
Don't go listen to our 2-hour Dream Theater. Jesus. Oh, no.
Don't go listen to any episode of ours that's over an hour.
Yeah, don't.
That's some pretty extensive tangents like we're doing now.
Don't pretend like you like suffering.
All right. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts on the album would probably be, it's a really good album, very accessible for this kind of music. It manages to both be intricate and simple throughout the entire thing. Just mostly in the guitars is where the intricacy of the guitars and drums come from. Song structure, whatever. So it's kind of simple, but it works. For a 34-minute long album, why not? Give it a try. Like, there's,
why not?
There's, what's the worst thing you do? It's like watching if you end up not liking it, it's like watching a bad episode of a show. Big deal. Same amount of time you wasted. But I don't think you will waste time.
I want that to be
album.
like when they put like reviewer quotes on the back of things. Just flip over the CD. Why not? Try it out.
Why not? Who knows? You might like it.
I don't know. If you don't like it, it'll just be like watching a single bad episode of a show.
But yeah, my favorite tracks on this album probably "Drive Me Home" or "Goodnight." Maybe "Swallowed Whole," just because it's like the heaviest track on the album.
I might be leaning towards "Where We Are in the Stars" or "Imagine Life Without Color" is my
Yeah,
we're definitely differing there.
It's hard to pick a favorite for me, honestly. The whole album, in my opinion, is just really solid throughout the entire way. So it's hard.
Yeah, because even though they are,
except for "Drive Me Home," I will say "Drive Me Home" is easily my favorite.
It's hard to pick, even though
I will contradict everything I just said to say "Drive Me Home" is actually absolutely my favorite, just because I love the chorus hook.
Mm-hmm. But like, I mean, overall, it's like I kind of said, it's kind of close to just being a single piece of music. So in that sense, it's usually kind of tough to pick out a favorite song at that point, you know. Ooh, I just realized the synth that comes in on Where We Are in the Stars sounds a lot like the As I Am synth that opens up.
A little bit.
From Dream Theater.
A little bit.
Eat my ass and balls. That is the stupidest joke they could have ever done.
Oh, man, there's no context to that, and we're going to leave it there.
Boy, so have you been listening to anything new? You got to play at Strainberg recently. From what you want to tell the class about that?
No, I don't need to. Other than I'm going to spend way too much money on a fucking guitar soon.
Are you gonna Are you gonna spend $1,800 on a guitar, Michael?
You shut your whore mouth, Micah. You shut the hell up. Stop reminding me.
Are you gonna forego eating today so you can save money?
Thought about it. No, I don't know. I've been listening to this album a lot because, like I said earlier, I've actually been just enjoying it. I've been listening to it, like, not even for the podcast. Just I'll pop it on, just like, yeah, this is good driving music right now. To do a little shameless self-promotion to the 5 people who are going to listen to, so it won't really affect the numbers. Anyway, my band actually released our first song Friday with our 3-song EP coming out on the 15th of March.
Wow, what's that called?
Wow, the band is called The Creative Impulse, and our EP is titled The Tribute Money EP. You can find it on Bandcamp at thecreativeimpulse.bandcamp.com.
Oh my god. I know a famous person.
Just some stupid, shameless self-promotion. I don't know. It'll get like maybe 2 extra plays because of this, so it's whatever.
Wow, what do you play in that band?
Wow, what do I play in that band? I play bass in that band, and it's a math rock band, so it's relevant to this episode, so fuck you.
Wow, who mixed that album?
Wow, I mixed and produced the album almost all by myself.
Oh my god.
Wow, but I didn't do the drums or the guitar. Those are my bandmates, Jake and Brandon. They're fantastic.
No, but you really did do a good job.
Please buy our fucking music.
Finally hearing like that bass recorded and then also like I haven't had a chance to listen to that final mix yet, but like still that first mix that you sent me was pretty decent.
Hell yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Well, cool.
You did a good job.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
really, those bass lines were great.
That is really all of the life update, music update, listening update, bullshit episode update that I can think of.
Oh god.
Micah, why don't you go ahead and just...
Are you having a stroke?
Why don't you...
Do you smell that burnt toast?
No, why don't you go ahead and just do it real quick. Tell us what you've been spending your week doing.
Listen, so I was having like kind of a moody weekend last week. Well, not last weekend. A moody Monday.
Moody
I would
Monday.
Say more so. So usually what I do when I get like that is I listen to an earlier album from the band Anne Berlin. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Do you know that band?
I'm aware of the band, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were much more pop punk in the early days.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's an album called Never Take Friendship Personal, which is but I really enjoy the vibes from that. And that usually
for the album, not for the album.
Oh yeah. But I was listening to that, and even though they're a broken up band, I was like, you know what? Where's that vinyl? And so I was able to find like some third party that's still selling like some of the vinyl from like there's like a 2017 reissue of that album, even though it came out like mid 2000s.
Oh, nice.
So I picked that up. Sounds really good. It's pretty funny because it's like probably like an 11-track album. They're all pretty short, and like 9 of them are on side 1.
Oh, shit.
It's like not even.
What?
Side 2 ends so fast. It's funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's only like 3 or 4 songs on side 2. I guess I was kind of exaggerating.
Oh my god, I was gonna say it's a 12-inch, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
That means there's like
I got a 15-inch.
That means there's like less than 20 minutes of music on the first side.
It's a short album. So yeah, there's that, and then I've been jamming that first Astronoid album since I finally got that. Oh yeah, because we went and saw Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah,
I think we mentioned that.
The live stream.
Yeah. No one saw it though.
Yeah, that's
so
right. Mention it again.
Yeah. I got their first album called Air on vinyl when we saw them, and yeah, it's pretty good. I still think it falls into the zone of like vocals could be mixed a little higher.
Sure.
But that's just me. And I finally got my shipping notification for the Dream Theater box set.
Oh, you got yours for the
for
box,
the Distance
for
Over
that
Time
box set? Yeah, I finally got mine for the Scurrilous reissue.
Oh shit! I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I finally got that too.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
I forgot.
hype.
We know. How are we supposed to know when neither of us go in like fucking splooging in the group chat?
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think that is. If that's all you got, then I guess that will be it for this episode.
I showed you what I got. Answer me.
Great. Well, that is the end of the episode. So we will see you guys next week. Maybe. Who knows?
What do you mean maybe?
Maybe.
What?